All right, welcome in. My name is Ryan. I'll be your pilot today. I am frustrated, a little irritated. Just waking up, had a long night. As you guys know, we were streaming the entire game last night. I did release the every throw from Zach Wilson. So if you guys want to check that out, that video is live on the channel. If you're just tuning in, make sure you hit that like button. If you're not, subscribe to the channel, which statistically speaking, half of you guys are not. It goes a long way to help out the discoverability of the channel. I want to go over some of the clips that I came across throughout the last day and kind of vent out what I'm feeling on this NFL refereeing situation that went on last night and how I feel like the New York Jets were the better team and we just committed enough mistakes to allow the referees the ability to basically just gift the game to the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's not so much that I'm upset with a flag that was necessarily called, and we'll get into it. We'll specifically talk about the Sauce Gardner one, but calls that are not made, in huge opportunities. And why are these not allowed to be challenged? Why can you not throw a challenge flag on a clearly egregious call or lack thereof a call? So I want to get all your thoughts in here. Do a quick roll call real quick for those of you that just popped in. I see Kevin S. says, keep Dalvin Cook in New York for the Denver game. I would like to see Breece and Carter get more touches. I'd love to see Izzy come back and really replace those reps. Robbie says, good afternoon, fellow Jet fans. Moretti says, what a great feeling it is to be cheated and robbed by a pack of zebras. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's nice that we were at least in the position against the Super Bowl defending champs to have it stolen from us, but man, it would be really nice to have it have one in the win column. Mr. X says, I love the pre-stream graphic. Good job with that. Thank you. Very much like it. John, what's up, dude? Stan says they cheated us, bro. John says, I'm excited to see what the team can do moving forward on to Denver. Rex says, Ryan, you got to be on more game day streams if you can. You were a good luck charm. We still lost, unfortunately. Still lost. Nobody comes in and says, I'm a Dolphins fan. I think y'all got robbed and all because Taylor Swift was at the stadium and the league didn't want her and her fans to get mad. So I do want to talk about that. That's kind of the little bit of the conspiracy side of things. Obviously Taylor Swift and the energy around her following coming to the NFL. And it's honestly the best thing that's happened to the NFL in a long time. I think having that influx of young female attention into the game was something that the NFL's needed basically since the whole Ray Rice situation like a decade ago now. So I do overall like the Swift impact. I don't love how this game was called or how it may have been perceived. It's like, oh man, the Swifties are going to be upset if Kansas City loses the game, because some of the ways these were called / not called, it felt very much like they're like, ah, crap. We didn't expect our main dude, Patrick Mahomes, to lose to a backup quarterback in prime time. This was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers versus the Chiefs, not, Zach Wilson beating the Chiefs. So I think that's where fans are feeling a certain way. So we'll get into those clips in just a second here. Raffia pops in. What's up, dude? Thank you for the super chat. He says, this loss just makes the Patriots loss that much worse. Imagine if the Jets were 2-2 after that loss instead of 1-3. Side note, teams should get one special challenge per game for penalties. I'd love to see it just like included with your challenges. Forget one. You have the opportunity to call refs on their lack of correct calls. So why not just expand that to be penalties? If they don't want us to challenge penalties, call plays correctly. That's what I think needs to happen. But I would love to see, even if they were just like, okay, you could do one a game. But I like the 2 challenges, and then you get an extra one if you wind up getting the challenge correct. So Rafi, I'm there with you. Just frustrated. SLJ James says, you guys just realizing how bad refs are against us. It's been a killer for years since the AFC Championship years. Not to mention the Jets still don't have a roughing the passer call in favor of us, and that's what, 640, 50 days now? That's like year and a half. That is statistically unlikely by like a long shot. So I don't understand why that's not being called as well. Really frustrated. Really, really frustrated. All right. So let's talk a little bit about some of these clips and where things go from here. I want to pop in. First we'll look at the play with Sauce Gardner and how Robert Saleh reacted to seeing that.
The replay on the big board, so is Saleh, who is infuriated.
We've seen a lot of contact downfield tonight. We have seen a very physical approach out of the New York Jets, and we've seen a lot more than that wasn't called. Let's see, one more time.
All right, so you see it right there at the end, and I'll freeze frame it because I think it is important to be honest when you can be, because obviously talking about this flag, it's frustrating, and the Jets were clearly upset with it because it wasn't a flag that was called all game. You allow the guys to play as they were playing the entire game, and then now in a very critical situation, a third down no less, where the Jets get a turnover. And it's seemingly giving us another shot. Jets could really go down the field and change the outcome of this game. But this was definitely a hold. I hate to say it. Sauce got handsy, and it just got called. Now, you can argue whether or not they should have been calling it earlier in the game, so he knew not to do this sort of thing, late in the game. But either way, this is a textbook hold to me. You see him pull the shoulder pad down. I am not going to argue this the way some fans may want to argue this. It just sucks to see a 3rd and 20 or whatever they were in at that particular point in time and seeing it get flipped the other way because of a flag that didn't really impact the play so much. I mean, it was such a poorly thrown ball. I don't know. It's really frustrating when you see a 5-yard penalty wipe out that kind of play. We got to see Sauce's response to the flag and what he thought he saw on that. Let's see where I got that one queued up.
And how frustrating was that?
Receiver ran into me. It was a collision. The same thing that was happening all game. They ain't throw no flags. Pat threw the ball outside of the receiver. MC was there. He made the play. Then the ref threw the flag. Like, me personally, that's like when you play basketball and one-on-one and you go up to lay the ball up and you wait to see you miss and then say foul. Like, I can't believe that. Like, that was just crazy because, like, I don't even think they threw the ball my way at me first 3 quarters. Then they started throwing checkdowns, and then a shot that they try to take that's not going, then they finally get bailed out by that. 4th quarter, crunch time, like, I mean, like, that's, I don't even know what to say.
So obviously Sauce frustrated with the call. He felt that the receiver ran into him. I still am against, or I'm still for the call, I guess, if that makes sense. I do think it was a holding penalty. Now, I think the issue that a lot of fans have with this, and I don't have this particular clip queued up, but the lateness of which the flag was thrown. When you say, okay, that was a hold at the beginning of the play, before the pass was thrown, and the ref waited until the interception happened, and then they're like, okay, now we'll throw the flag because it was an outcome we didn't really like. Now, would they have thrown it if it was an incomplete pass anyway? They may have done that. It felt very odd. The optics of this particular play and the way it was flagged, I think, was the most frustrating part of this. This very much looked like a reactive type of penalty instead of a penalty that you saw the whole time and you're like, okay, we gotta call it. You know, I think there's a little bit of bias obviously coming in there from a Jets fan perspective, but you could tell that the players were definitely feeling a certain way on this. This is Breece Hall on that particular play as well.
Obviously, it got really emotional on the sidelines, you know, when they called the holding penalty on Sauce Gardner. At that point, you guys are really, really trying to inch it back. You know, can you just kind of describe what that did to the momentum and then how you guys just try to still pull it out despite that call?
Yeah, you see the replay and everything, and you just feel like they're trying to take the game from you to a certain extent. But you know, it is what it is. You got to just keep playing the next play, And our defense, they fought their tails off, but it just wasn't enough tonight.
And what was the message from Sal after the game?
We're right where we want to be, and we have the people in the locker room to do whatever we want to do. So I'm just going to come back tomorrow and be ready to work.
Well, we appreciate your time.
So Breece Hall also feeling a way about this. You know, it definitely feels like the refs took this game away from the players, allow them to dictate it on the field. I didn't feel like it was that egregious of a penalty. Like, it's not like, you know, Scantling was going up and trying to catch a ball and then Sauce is draped all over him, clearly preventing the catch. Like, this was not even remotely close, and it felt like that drive just continued to take, you know, longer and longer and longer, and they just ate up so much time at the end of that game, and we never got an opportunity to see Zach back with the ball in his hands. Now, the issue with a lot of fans isn't so much the holding call on Sauce. I mean, obviously that's a really frustrating call to have, but it was really the hold on Jermaine Johnson that I think a lot of fans are fired up about because it was just not called. This was a 3rd and 22. 3rd and 22. Chiefs were on their own 41-yard line. And watch Jermaine Johnson. He's at the bottom portion of your screen, middle of the screen, really. He's on the hash mark, kind of in front of Patrick Mahomes. He's going to stunt to the outside, and just watch the hold that happens. It is, like, comically bad. And I think we've all seen this replay.
Mahomes has time here. Gets with coverage downfield. Mahomes with forever. He's got a long way to go. Got 10, got 20. Got the first down at the 35-yard line. And he gives you the Kelsey point.
So let's just rewind it just a little bit and just show how ridiculous this is. Just this whole process of Jermaine Johnson coming around on the stunt. He's going to win this. He can't rip his arm. He can't rip his arm off of the tackle. And he's finally like, hey, I'm going to throw my hand up. What the heck? I can't get to Mahomes right now. Get off of me. And look where Mahomes runs. He runs right up the gap where Jermaine would have been had he gotten around the tackle the way he would have. He would have beat that tackle. This changed the game. Absolutely changed the game. This was before the penalty on Sauce Gardner that ultimately, you know, kind of ended any shot that we had towards the end there. Now, I did get Jermaine Johnson's response to this. I want to hear that. I didn't get it, obviously. But they talked to him following the game, and here's what he had to say on that particular no call.
There's a clip going around Twitter right now on the 3rd and long, 3rd and 23, that looks like you got held. Just from your vantage point, what happened on that play?
I mean, I was going, you know, I'm looking at Mahomes, seeing which way he's going to go. He wasn't really going, so I was, you know, trying to go apply some pressure. You know, I got grabbed, and obviously I already had the one personal, so I didn't want to, like, you know, try to get him off me, and then I get another one, I'm out the game, so I'm just trying to signal to a ref, like, yo, I can't move. Like, I'm trying to show resistance because I know that's what they need to see. I want that one back. I should never put myself in a position for him to hold me. I just want that one back. That was a 25-yard scramble by him, and the guys were playing with 10 on the field, and, you know, I got to live with that.
So this was a little bit of a mixed bag. We were yelling at the TV screen as soon as we saw this. It was clear as day this was a hold, and the fact it wasn't called is absolutely egregious when you consider what was called on Sauce Gardner. Now, when I listen to Jermaine Johnson talk here, it feels like he knows it was clearly they were playing with 11 guys, we had 10 guys. Now, I don't know how to say it other than, look, both guys were taken out of the play. I don't know if it was like a, you know, does he feel like he tried to show that the jersey was getting pulled and maybe didn't give the effort or whatever, thinking that it was going to be the flag. I don't know. It just looked to me like once you're being held that long and they're not throwing a flag, there's nothing else you can do because it doesn't matter. They weren't going to allow you to sack Patrick Mahomes. They weren't going to throw any flags on you regardless of how bad it was. That's just sort of how it felt. And there was a lot of this throughout the game. There was one play that I do not have a clip of right now, but talking about Patrick Mahomes and the intentional grounding call or lack thereof. Patrick Mahomes inside the tackle box throws a pass to the flat, not within 5 yards of a wide receiver, inside the tackle box. I don't even think he made it back to the line of scrimmage. Why can't that be reviewed? You're telling me the hold on Jermaine Johnson and a intentional grounding call. Neither one of those things can be reviewed. They're judgment calls. If they're a judgment in the game, they can be a judgment 5 minutes after the fact. You should be able to get that call right, and there should be some sort of consensus. I don't know how you do that. Is it like a panel of referees? Is it, would it be a weird situation of like referees always have their backs and nothing actually gets done anyway? Would the NFL not want to admit any type of fault? Does this just have the whole script of the NFL? Oh, it reeks. It sucks. I want to see the game decided by the players on the field. And what's frustrating is this kind of eliminated the little bits of flaws that the Jets had. And we shouldn't have put ourselves in a position to need these, like the penalty against Jermaine or the penalty against Sauce, because the Jets had opportunities. We missed a field goal. We dropped a touchdown when it came to Conklin in the end zone. Zach missed a wide open Garrett Wilson for a touchdown. Zach fumbled the ball. Like, the Jets played the better game, had opportunities, and just let it slip away. If the Jets play 100% clean football, you're able to walk out of that game with a win. You're able to walk out of that game with a win. Salmonella says, listen, there were mistakes. The drop touchdown, the fumble, the no call on Jermaine Johnson, and the Sauce hold. It's hard not to think the refs influenced this. Guys, I do have a poll question in the chat as well. Do you feel like the game was handed to the Chiefs? Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of bias coming from a channel full of Jet fans, but a pretty overwhelming vote as it stands right now. And yeah, like we were just saying, there were mistakes by the Jets. There were opportunities to not have this end up in the refs' ability to control. I would say there's no moral victories, but this one definitely allows me to kind of reflect on the team, see Zach Wilson's every pass video, and feel good about where I thought the Jets were going to be after this game. I thought the locker room was going to be in shambles. I thought Zach was going to implode. I thought we were going to see Trevor Siemian in halftime, which he was on the practice squad, so he couldn't even come into the game. But regardless, I thought this was going to be a blowout on a national stage. I thought we were going to get embarrassed. And to the Jets' credit, to Robert Saleh's credit, Hackett's credit, the players' credit, Zach's credit, everyone on this organization, they did not get embarrassed. They left it all out there on the field, and it just feels like if we had had the ball one more time at the end of that game, the outcome would have been different. Jet Engine says, nope, you cannot call that. If you let Jermaine Johnson get manhandled in front of you for 15 seconds right before it, or ticky-tack man downfield, that could be called on every screen ever thrown. Yeah, it sucks too, because we got the one call on McGovern and AVT that were like a yard in front of the Uzama screen pass. That one, was a penalty as well. But I'm with you, Jet Engine. This is incredibly frustrating. I don't know how you don't call the Jermaine Johnson penalty and then throw the Sauce penalty a few plays later. That's insane to me. Like, it's one thing if you say, okay, we didn't call the Jermaine penalty, and that's let's let them play. Let's let the players decide what's going on the field. Even though Mahomes ran through the hole that was created due to that hold. But then you don't do the same thing on the other side when the pass is not remotely close. The hold wouldn't have mattered at all. Wouldn't have mattered at all. Just frustrating. It feels like that game was stolen from the New York Jets. Ryan says, crazy hold. Humble Bill says, wow, that's ridiculous. Glad to have you in here. I'm glad you were on our side with that. Ryan Pohl says, literally grabbing his jersey. That's both the Jermaine and the Sauce one. I think both were actually holds, but only one got called as such. Mothman Evolved says the refs in this game should be investigated. They should. Boycott says take Jermaine to the hospital. He got mugged. 100%. Absolutely screwed. I'm blaming Salah for not yelling a hold and pointing. Look, there's only so much you could do. I think everyone saw the Jermaine Johnson hold when it happened, and they're just not going to throw a flag just because you said it that late. You know, sometimes the receivers get the benefit of the doubt when there's that, you know, quick, brief moment, but edge rushers don't really get that same kind of benefit. Not when you're going against Patrick Mahomes. Jay Dawson says Reed should have taken Mahomes' head off on that one play. Yeah, Reed had a play where he could have teed off on Patrick Mahomes, and he legitimately backed off because of I believe it was because of a safety issue, because of not wanting to get a penalty on a third down. He could have absolutely leveled Patrick Mahomes. It would have been a clean shot. He was still holding onto the ball. Reed literally just like went around him. And I think it was clear as day that was because he did not want to get a penalty. Humble Bills fan says, they will never allow a challenge of penalties. That's how the NFL rigs and controls the games. I've always said that. We've been saying it since Tom Brady was a quarterback for the New England Patriots. It's been like, hey, you know, it just seems to, you know, you can never see the yardage of the penalties being like a major thing, because it's not like they're going to give them like the huge, you know, not roughing the pass, the long pass interference all the time, but they'll get the 5-yard holding. And it's like this little hidden tiny like, oh, okay, you know, it was 3rd and 20, but 5-yard holding penalty, first down, like kind of crazy. I don't think 5-yard holding should be an automatic first down. It should be a distance and redo the down. That's what I would like to see. Donovan says, I hate those refs. Ravens fan here. Refs are Mahomes fanboys. Yeah, it feels like the NFL is definitely steering a narrative, especially when you have the whole Taylor Swift thing and everyone's watching. They just want to see a happy ending with Travis Kelce being, the victor on what's going to end up being one of the highest viewed Sunday Night Football games of the year, most likely. Really, really frustrating. Michael says, bro, let's not beat around the bush. This game was lost before it began. The NFL needed the Swifties to get the win tonight. You know how much money the NFL would lose if Chiefs lost to the Jets. I don't know how much money they would have lost, but I think and I honestly don't know if Taylor Swift was the reason this was called. I think it was more so like Mahomes is going to get the benefit of the doubt on a lot of calls, and like, I don't know. It felt awfully squirrely. The way they threw that penalty flag so late after not throwing a penalty flag at all. Like, if you're going to wait that long after the hold occurs, then why not go back and look at the Jermaine Johnson one and just throw the flag? It's ridiculous. Sky's the limit. A Dolphins fan hops in, says, I'm a Dolphins fan and the refs robbed the Jets. NFL made the refs do this. Taylor Swift, Chiefs are the dynasty. They couldn't have them lose this game. It's a shame, but it's the truth. I'm excited to talk to you and the rest of the guys on the AFC East roundtable later on today. Richie and I, I'm sure, are going to be sounding off pretty good later on. So if you guys want to tune into that, 6 p.m. over on the AFC East roundtable. Should be a lot of fun. True One says, refs called the hold on Sauce on 3rd and long when the Jets had already spent their timeouts. That's robbery. Did they? I don't know if they didn't use their timeouts by that point, did they? I think they still had their timeouts at that particular point. Wyatt comes in. Just want to let you know, I told you so. Zach has the beans, baby. Dude, I am more than happy to be wrong on Zach Wilson. I was in that dude's corner for the longest time, and I'm still in his corner. As long as he's a New York Jet, I'm going to be rooting for the guy. Rooting for the kid. But he's got to show some consistency. If he does this same thing to Denver, at least you see it. You see it on a primetime stage against a really good team. Kansas City's defense is no joke. I thought the game plan was great. I think the Jets just self-inflicted wounds, missing a field goal, dropping a touchdown if you're Conklin, overthrowing Garrett Wilson, Michael Carter dropping an easy first down that would have led to a closer field goal and additional plays within field goal range. Really frustrating to see. But I like what we got from Zach last night. Jigga says, we're going against the refs and the NFL 2-0 as Swifties. Such BS. Sorry, frustrated, headed to the airport. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the NFL Instagram. Was it the Instagram or was it the Twitter? I have the screenshot. But either way, the NFL changed their bio to 2-0 as Swifties. Like, how is that okay? The optics on that after what just happened on the field, someone's got to, like, shake someone awake. Like, yo, we should not post this after everyone's going to ream us out for the other thing. And maybe they don't care because they make the rules anyway. And who cares? Jets aren't allowed to have nice things. We lose our quarterback first game of the season, and then, screw them. We won't call any pass interference or roughing the passer calls on the Jets because, it's Zach Wilson. Who cares? 640 days or whatever we're at now without a roughing the passer call. A statistical anomaly. Mark says, NFL's got to keep the Swifties happy for the money, unfortunately. I mean, think about how much money they brought into the NFL. Are they just going to allow this methodical run to go all the way, and then they can have their Mr. and Mrs. NFL Swiftie edition, and it's not going to be... That's the fix. The fix is in, right? That's what we're going to see. It's going to be a Chiefs Super Bowl at the end of the day. Boycott says, we should have hired Kanye West to sit in our owner's box. Would have gotten us more calls. He could have yelled down and said, what did he say when he interrupted Taylor Swift on stage at the VMAs? I don't remember exactly what it was. That was out of control, though. Mothman, I wish Jermaine would have leveled the refs. A nice smash to the body, sending them to the ozone layer. Yeah, like just accidentally not seeing where the ref was and decleating him. Definitely would have thrown us out for that. Sky's Limit says, can't wait for the AFC East roundtable. Yeah, especially with the Bills beating the Dolphins after the Dolphins put up 70 last week. It's going to be a fun TD and Dan exchange, I think, as well. Sean says, make sure we give the new construction of the O-line some credit. Yes, I wanted to talk about this. I think this was one of my favorite. This is my favorite combination of offensive linemen out there right now. I think the Jets have the right players out there on the field. I think Becton at left tackle, AVT at right tackle. Those are our two best tackles on the team. I really like Tippmann at right guard right now. McGovern, I'm fine with him at center. And even Laken Tomlinson, I thought has looked pretty good. And I think as you watch this grow over the next few weeks, and especially after the bye week, I think they'll really start humming. So if you can get a win against Denver, I mean, you have to get a win versus Denver. You cannot go into that Philly game 1-4. And then who knows what happens? Maybe something changes and, Jets turn this thing around. A season that we felt like could have been lost. Addison says, Kelsey Taylor Swift is the 2023 version of Jeter and Mariah Carey. Ugh. I do like this. Kelsey is trash. Nah, he's arguably the best of all time. No hate towards him. Patrick says these games are on primetime because of Rodgers, not Mahomes, Kelsey, Swift, or Wilson. Yes, but the outcome of the game could have been dictated because Rodgers was not there. I guarantee we would have had a roughing the passer call already if Rodgers was out there, but because we got Zach Wilson, we're not going to get a roughing the passer penalty. 600 and some odd days and counting. Trying to make analysis, can't leave the game to the refs. We never benefit from those kind of close games. Shake my head. I agree. If the Jets take care of business and you're able to score on the Garrett Wilson touchdown or score on the Conklin touchdown or Michael Carter converts that third down, we make that extra point, or not extra point, sorry. If we make that field goal before half, this game's different. This game could be different. McNally says, give Izzy Cook's minutes. He is so washed beyond belief. Yeah, this Cook thing is definitely not looking great. I think I'm just going to be done on like older running backs at this point because I really wanted Le'Veon Bell, and I was all excited for Le'Veon Bell, and then he shits the bed because our offensive line sucks. And then now Cook just looks like a shell of his former self. Unfortunate because he does run hard. Like when he was catching passes out of the backfield, week 1, I felt like he lowered his shoulder and really delivered a nice strike a few times. But man, he definitely looks like he's running with some cement in his shoes. Savage says, how much is a zebra? I want to cook one tailgating at MetLife like a roasted pig. I don't think you can eat zebra. I don't think you're allowed to hunt them, at least. I don't really know how that works. I would say paint a horse black and white, but I think it's weird to eat a horse too. I don't know. Horse is on that like kind of pet line right there. I don't know. Hey, what's up, Jet Engine? He says, I think it's funny that the NFL doesn't understand the Swift demographic. When Kelsey dumps her, when he tires, he's dating a 33-year-old stick figure that acts like a 14-year-old. She'll write a song about dating and the mean football star. So there's definitely going to be a song at some point, I feel like, revolving around Travis Kelce, because for the longest time, that was kind of Taylor Swift's thing, right? Like every album she put out was like, oh, here's her new breakup album, and here comes, all the new songs. I will admit, I am a Swiftie. I very much like Taylor Swift. I like what she stands for. I think she's, good to her fans. I think she's, if you could have someone with the star power that she has and kind of be the good influence that I think she tries to be, I think it's important. But man, dude, it sucks. And I think the NFL might be in for a rude awakening when she eventually is broken up with Travis Kelce. Like, his star is trending crazy high on the social media landscape side of things, and his popularity amongst, maybe novice fans or newer fans. But man, when the other shoe drops and the relationship crumbles, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Swifties are just going to burn jerseys. Downvote everyone. Dude, I don't know. Phil says, if Zach Wilson plays like he did last night against the Pats, we're 2-2 and 2-0 in the division. I 100% agree. Boycott says the amount of NFL rigged narratives is ramping up now. Yeah, I think a lot of people were really frustrated with that last night. Wyatt says, what the hell is a Swiftie? Swiftie is a Taylor Swift fan. Michael, you know why. The reason why is just not a valid excuse. It's a good way to put that. Good way to put that. Sky Limit says, now it's all about entertainment, not the actual sport. It's a shame, but it's in the books. It's an entertainment business, not an actual sports business. Yeah, if you look up NFL, it's an entertainment industry, like an entertainment thing, not a sport. So I don't know how you want to take that, but it's not great. I don't like seeing it. Oh, there's a day. Addie says, I'm going to let you finish, but Beyonce, yada, yada, yada. That was terrible. Yeah, that's right. I forgot that's how that went. I got to see, so 1 year after that thing happened on the VMAs, Eminem and Jay-Z did their concert at Yankee Stadium, and Kanye came out and performed his Blame It on the Assholes song for the first time live. Or I shouldn't say first time live, because I guess he did it live at the VMAs and then played it for the first time in concert, like the next day. That was a lot of fun. Brian Bogan says, I'm going to let you finish, but Zach Wilson is the best quarterback of all time. I love it. I love it. Chris says, you chat about that post-game interview yet? Yes, if you want to go back and look at the stream a little bit earlier, we did go over all the clips. We went through the Sauce Gardner responses along with the holding call on him, the Jermaine Johnson penalty or non-call penalty, his response to that. I didn't play the post-game press conference with Sal, but you could tell he was heated. Anything that was brought up about the refs was like, I'd rather not talk about it. Like, very clear. Like, sent a message, was not blaming it on the refs, but like would have liked to have an opportunity there. He definitely feels like the Sauce penalty should not have been called. And I'm not sure how, I don't think he's too happy about the lack of a call on the Jermaine Johnson side of things either. Gary says, you think Rodgers will be the starter next season if Zach continues to play like he did last night? I mean, if he continues to play like he did last night and he puts together a consistent 245 yards and 2 touchdowns on a weekly basis, we're going to be feeling really good about it. Now, Rodgers is coming back next year, and I think at that point, you probably don't have him as like a $40 million backup. I think I don't say you want to owe it to him, but I think you start with Rodgers knowing that you have the fallback of Zach, who's really developed well, and he could always learn more from Aaron Rodgers. I think we got to see how the rest of the season plays out before you can really make a concrete call. But I think you're locked into Aaron Rodgers anyway, so I don't know. It'd be a good problem to have, right? Like, I would love to have the issue of, do we start Zach or Rodgers next season? Kyle says, Jets put the league on notice on how to stop Kelce. He did not have a big game. Did not have a big game. He did have a few receptions. I'd have to look at how many receptions he ended up having. I took the over at 6.5, and I don't know what it actually was. He may not have had it. Steven says 3 losses in the books. Season's not done yet. I think we certainly proved that last night. We can beat teams. We just can't beat the refs, apparently. We have to make sure that we don't leave it up to the refs. That's the biggest part of this puzzle. Biggest takeaway from last night. Do not allow yourself to be put in a position where the refs can change the outcome of the game. And really, they didn't change the outcome of the game. They just eliminated the Jets having an opportunity to come back. If the Jets take care of their own business, we don't even have to worry about it. Legacy says, let's effing go. We are a pissed off team with a full head of steam, and I want to beat the brakes off of Denver first and just know Mahomes was smiling. He knows he has to see us again. Big facts. Jets, 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 Jets. Yeah, dude, I hope we go into Denver. So my biggest concern, like a week ago, was like, okay, Denver's going to lose a stupid game this upcoming week, and then they're going to get their first win against New York Jets. Luckily, they did win this past week. They came back against the Chicago Bears after being down like 28-7. Who knows how that game got away from them. But then now the Jets are heading in there. I want to beat the ever-living piss. I want to drag my nuts all over the Denver Broncos this upcoming week. One, because Nathaniel Hackett's the man. Say what you want about his play calling the first 3 weeks of the season. Last night was beautifully play called. Not to mention, I really like Nathaniel Hackett. The way he showed out at camp and got the energy's there. I hope everything keeps trending in the same direction for what Zach did last night, because I'd really like to see more of the Hardman and Gibson and Ruckert experiments. I think the Jets are getting their best players out on the field right now. I really like that. Trying to make it now says, glad Zach played well. I'm rooting for him. Hate the refs, are scumbags, but it doesn't matter because the Jets are coming and will not be denied. Dude. It all starts now. Chad says, dude loves her. He made a friendship bracelet for her and tried to give it to her at the concert. I really don't have any hate towards Kelce or Swift or their relationship. I think it's the best thing that's happened for the NFL from a female demographic in a long time. And it's just kind of fun. It's fun. I just wish it didn't influence shit on the field. Savage says, I saw many zebras in Mexico. The donkey had painted stripes. That makes me laugh. I have a mini golden doodle, Bali, and I've always wanted to take her to the groomer and get her kind of cut into looking like a lion with the mane around the neck and the tail and the fur. Becca would kill me though. Jake says, we can't blame the refs for everything. Was hoping to not be commiserating after the start of that game. Look, 17-0 to start that game and then to end up only giving up 6 points through the next 3 quarters. You hold it down the first quarter, you get, a better opportunity towards the end there. Phil Adams, Ryan, did you enjoy the watch party? Will you be doing more? So the only reason I haven't done the watch party more is because I like doing the every throw video. I know from an excitement standpoint, I really enjoy doing it. It is a lot of fun hanging out with Green Bean and Jeremy and Dom. That was a blast. So I'll probably do more in the future. But I was up till 4 a.m. last night doing the every throw video, which is asinine considering I don't get paid for any of that stuff. But yeah, no, I would like to do more. Phil says, too much publicity about movie stars and singers or what they're wearing, etc. Starting to get annoying. Less nonsense and more football, but that's what we have Ryan for, to get our football news. Yeah. Hey, that's why I started the channel. I guarantee you turn on ESPN right now, they're probably talking nonstop about Taylor Swift and everything that went on. I'm here for the people. Card Cave Central says, I love how media always makes it seem like the locker room is split and everyone hates Zach. I didn't see that post game with players grabbing the kid and lifting him up. Team is united. Yeah, this is a united front now. Now, I will say this. It looked very bad against the Patriots last week. The blow-ups with Carter, the blow-ups with Garrett Wilson, some of the comments that were made, Breece already having like the 4 emojis of the footballs. That was 2 weeks ago against Dallas. There's definitely something to the locker room being kind of teetering on that edge. I think seeing Zach play the way he played last night gave everyone a little bit more of a breath of fresh air and saying, okay, this kid can do it. If we take care of all our business, and the post-game interview Zach gave was great. He took all the blame on himself, which he fumbled the ball. It sucks. Like, for a really good night that he had, ultimately it came down to that fumble, and the Jets wound up missing the opportunity to ever give it back. If he doesn't drop that ball, you may not have to worry about how the refs call that game at the end. But yeah, this team, I think, is more united now than they were the last few weeks, for sure. Randy drops in and says, Rodney Harrison needs to get fired disrespecting Zach. Yeah, that was a bullshit fucking interview at the end of the game. If you guys did not see that, look up Rodney Harrison interview with Chris Jones. I wish I should have clipped that. I didn't have it pulled aside. But Rodney Harrison just tries to lay into Zach. I'll pull it up for the call-in show later tonight. Rodney Harrison tries to lay into Zach and like, oh, well, when you studied for this game, you couldn't have been like taking Zach seriously or whatever. I forget the exact terminology, but Chris Jones does not bite on it. He's just like, that's a really good team over there. You know, he's getting better each and every week. And he took the high road where Willie Gay kind of took the, maybe a little bit more of a gut punch prior to the game. Randy also says, anyone thinks that game wasn't thrown for Swifty, you have to be out of your damn mind. It felt like it. It sucks. Danny says, I just hope that people get off Zach's back for a while now. The team lost that game and Zach looked good. 4 other mistakes before Zach's. Yeah, you missed the field goal. Zach did miss the throw to Garrett Wilson in the end zone. He threw it just a little too far. Conklin dropped the touchdown pass in the end zone. Michael Carter dropped the first down pass. There was a lot of issues throughout that game, and, you could blame the refs all you want, but the Jets could have won that game if they played cleanly. David says, they didn't throw the flag until after the interception. The optics of it look really bad. And this is me saying I do think it actually was a penalty. I think Sauce did hold Scantling. I think that was the correct call. But if you're going to call that hold, I think you should have called the hold on Jermaine Johnson plays earlier that allowed Mahomes to get the 3rd and 22. Because then the whole Sauce thing doesn't even happen. Really frustrating. Mothman says, I broke my iPad last night. The refs and the NFL screwed us. They say they messed up on Wednesday. Watch. Yeah, we'll get the little reminder. It'll be like, oh, hey, yeah, John Franklin Myers didn't actually rough the passer on Dak Prescott, even though that was a huge turning point in that game, or at least a huge momentum swing in that game. Then they're going to say, oh, well, we probably should have called a penalty on Jermaine Johnson. Although they probably won't comment on the non-call. They'll only comment saying, oh, yep, Sauce definitely held. That's what it'll be. They won't acknowledge the fact that they should have thrown an intentional grounding earlier in the game. They're not going to acknowledge the holding that they did not call. Really frustrated. Knifey Spoony says, can we talk about how good Morstead is? It's nice not having a bitch to bitch about the punter every week. I was going to call Braden Man a bitch. But yes, no, Morstead has been really good all season. I have enjoyed watching him punt. I was a punter in high school, so there's a little bit of me that enjoys that side of things. But yeah, it feels like he's always getting us, the other team, pinned inside the 20 all the time. I mean, every punt was like on the 12-yard line last night. Jay-Z Jeff Fan says, hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls. We got over 250 people in here. Hit that like button. We only have 113 likes. You guys can do it. Jay Long says Sauce's hand never closed. How is that holding? Okay, well, put it this way. My hand doesn't have to close to be able to move someone down. And I feel like the replay you see Sauce tug down on the shoulder, and maybe it's just a good play of, hey, the hand's not there. He's not actually doing anything, and Scantling drops his shoulder to make it appear that way. But he did a good job of selling it if that is, in fact, what happened. But I think Sauce actually held. I did think that was a hold. Legacy says, yeah, them plays would offset. Would have been nice. Mothman says, I don't agree. Players were grabbing each other. You can see it in the replay. Brian Bogan says, love that Lazard, Cobb, and Wilson all went over to Zach after the fumble to console him. He clearly knew he messed up, and the team let him know they had his back. I hope they don't have to consistently do that, though. Like, I'm glad there was no hurt feelings on the sideline, like the players being like, oh, Zach lost us the game or anything like that. And I think they clearly were not going to go that route because of how he performed throughout the game anyway. But I would like to get to a point where we don't need to console our number 2 overall pick. He's a big boy. I would like him to just kind of know that we have his back. I'm done with the kid gloves, but I thought he played well. Some guy says it wasn't holding. Scantling created the contact. Such BS. Yeah, he ran into Sauce, but I don't think Sauce. I think Sauce, once he tugged down on the shoulder, I think that's what did it. So I see you guys talking about the hold with Sauce. He's allowed to touch the receiver. He's just not allowed to change their direction. And I think that's why I'm saying the shoulder that was pulled down gave the appearance of changing direction, for sure. Jay-Z says, if the refs called the game consistent all game, I wouldn't have complained about the holding. It's the fact that the refs made so many calls in the fourth quarter. Yeah, it felt like they shifted everything to the Chiefs' favor at the end. That final drive was just, it felt so different than the rest of the game, the way it was called. J-Boy says, you better be live tonight. Oh, yeah, we're taking phone calls tonight. I'm going to hop off this. We'll go for an hour, so we'll do 10 more minutes of Q&A here. And then I got to go mow the lawn. My grass is getting long. Green Beans Burner, what's up, dude? Says, Rodgers' effect that made Zach play well, or Hackett actually calling a better game plan. I don't care which one it was, but Aaron Rodgers needs to be in the building for every game from here on moving forward. And I would love to see him in a headset, too, be able to kind of calm Zach down. I loved what we got from Zach, and I hope he continues to build on this, and I hope Hackett continues to call plays like he did last night, because I thought getting Ruckert involved, Hardman involved, Gibson involved, even just having them move around and creating some chaos for defenses to account for, thought that was huge. Randy Hamilton says, Rodney Harrison called Zach garbage and not special. For the duration of Zach's career, with the exception of last night, he kind of has been garbage and has not been very special, with the exception of a few flashes. But the interview that he gave last night with Chris Jones was an utter disgrace. I don't know how the NFL can stand and just sit there, or I guess it would be NBC, right? Would just sit there and watch how an ex-Patriot just shits all over a Jets quarterback when he played his fucking heart out. Like, it was so clear as day that the refs impacted the tail end of that game to really harp on that one thing just to try and steer a narrative. Rodney Harrison could eat a bag of dicks. Brian Bogan says, makeup call for the horse collar tackle from earlier in the game. Yeah, that one ended up not being a horse collar. It was just the flag was thrown with the ref not being able to see the horse collar. It was the optics of it. Again, pulling the jersey down, not the horse collar itself, but it's the optics of having that. NYC Superfan comes in and says, Kansas City offensive line was holding Jermaine Johnson like he hasn't seen him, or like they haven't seen him in years. Yeah, it felt like every time he was rushing, he was getting held up. And I'm like, him and Huff getting like just bullied the entire, I shouldn't say bullied. They bullied their linemen and they had to hold to prevent them from hitting Patrick Mahomes. Rodrigo says, Ryan's kind of grumpy today. Have you eaten your Snickers already, dude? I have not eaten today. I had my coffee, but I'm talking a little too fast to actually drink the coffee. Savage says, I hope we start seeing more Gibson. The kid is a diamond in the rough. The kid's always looking to make a play. Vinny Wolf says, the NFL is an entertainment sport and the refs are the orchestrators. Certainly felt like it last night. That non-tripping call on Sherwood was atrocious. He was tripped. I actually don't know the play you're talking about. The non-tripping call on Sherwood was atrocious. He was tripped. The only tripping call on Sherwood is the one that I think he had on the kick return with Gibson week 1. I don't actually know what you're talking about. Brian Bogan says, Twitter bomb Rodney Harrison, the helmet catch. Yeah, right. Like just spam him. Screw this guy. Send him the Tyree helmet catch. Let him know that he screwed that one up. Phil says we also dropped a few interceptions. Yeah, Mosley had an opportunity for an interception. He dropped another one. He's had a few now. That's got to be, I think, the second or third one on the season that he's dropped. He did have the one interception tonight. Mosley's been playing good for the most part this season, so I really can't get, too much hate towards his direction. But dude, I wish our defense would catch some of these balls. Sauce dropping the interception against Dallas would have been big. I think Michael Carter had an interception last week. Someone had one ricochet off their hands. Scott Lee said, like that the team showed heart and didn't give up easily, could have given up down 17-0 so early on. Yeah, I thought that was going to get out of hand real quick. They kept fighting. I was proud of what they did. That safety really changed the momentum, I think. Mr. Rex says, Woody Johnson needs to install a lazy boy recliner for Rodgers. Yes, wherever he needs to be. Put it on wheels. Get him wherever we got to get him. Milton says, I truly believe that the combination of Rodgers this offseason and just Zach growing up, I think he's finally making that turn, and all he needed was to let the play calling allow him to cook. So you got to remember, too, Zach Wilson still has not played 2 full seasons. He just played his 26th game, I believe. There's 17 games in a season. So if you think a quarterback may need 2 years to figure shit out, or 2 years worth of games, maybe you're kind of hanging your hat on that for Zach. I'm cautiously optimistic. I love what we saw from him. Everything we saw from him last night is everything we thought we were getting from him when we drafted him number 2 overall. He's got the talent. It's all between the ears. If he could string these together, we're going to feel really good about where we're potentially going. Texas Toast says, can we trade Cook and have Hall, Carter, and Izzy starting? I would love to see that. I don't think Cook's getting traded. I don't know if there's a team out there that needs a running back bad enough to sign up for a trade for Dalvin Cook when he was a free agent and they didn't want him then. Like, is there an injury somewhere that maybe the Jets could benefit from? I wouldn't mind that. I don't think Cook's presence here is necessarily doing a whole lot for us right now. Michael says, I'm already banned for making comments for blasting Rodney and the refs. Good. Go out with a bang. Scott says, in a court of law earlier this year, the NFL admitted that it's a sports entertainment and that they can legally fix outcomes of games. The court agreed, therefore it's fixed. I did not see that, but I do know they are registered as an entertainment industry. And I guess like the WWE, you could dictate how you want the storyline to go, and the refs are the way to orchestrate that. Now, I think there's opportunities that you could still avoid that, but when games are close, you allow the opportunity for refs to be able to dictate a game. And I don't like seeing that. Ciro says this game was handed to the Chiefs, period. 2 clear holding calls missed on the Mahomes scramble, and Sauce's flag was trashed too. Refs need to make it all about the Swifties last night. Yeah, dude. Some guy says, Ryan, Jesse is talking about the run play where the offensive lineman grabbed Sherwood's foot and took him down. I was listening to the live show. You guys didn't catch it. No, I definitely didn't catch it. I did not see it at all. It's also because we didn't have the volume on for the game. So if they were talking about it during the game, we just missed it. Or I just missed it on the replay and did not bring it up. But I definitely missed it. NYC Superfan comes in and says, funny to see Kansas City has their own Dwayne Brown in Jawan Taylor. Dude is awful. Side note, get Gibson the ball in space. He's going to be special for us. Yeah, guys that are electric on the field, like Gibson is shown to be, just get him the ball in space. Get him the ball in space. Brian says, give Huff Lawson's contract. Yeah, I don't want to see Lawson anymore. I'm done with the Lawson experiment. Huff needs to see more playing time. He's too good. He's unreal. I'm going to be really ticked when they let him walk at the end of the season and the Jets get like a comp third-round pick for him at best in 2025. I hope the Jets can retain him. I really liked him. Joel C. says, you can rig games that people can bet on. I don't know. Well, no, you can't. That's definitely illegal. I think he's just saying that it's a entertainment sport. I don't know. The NFL wouldn't risk the millions and millions of dollars that they have in the gambling industry to fix a game, I don't think. Unless gamblers were like okay with it. Mahomes sliding down at the 2-yard line rather than scoring the touchdown and having the Jets lose the spread would have been is more of a helpful thing, I guess. Like a ton of people lost money on the Chiefs because Mahomes slid down at the 2 instead of going in for the touchdown. King in the North says, wow, NFL script machine almost imploded last night. Any non-Chiefs fans could see the obvious manner in which the game was handed to the Chiefs. It was cringeworthy. Cringeworthy. Phil says they need to hand over the ref's job to AI like tennis. LOL. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things that have to go into it, like how strict are things called, because you could call holding on any like run play or offensive line play, I feel like. But it'd be kind of nice if you could dictate like, hey, penalties away from the ball or penalties that don't impact the play because of all the AI knowledge of what's going on with the players on the field. Maybe it can make that sort of determination and then you see less penalties. I've been saying you should put boxing gloves on offensive linemen for years. And then at least if you have boxing gloves on the offensive lineman, they can't actually grab. You would eliminate holding from the entirety of the NFL. Now, maybe you want to have that holding penalty in the back pocket just in case an edge rusher gets around you. You want to be able to hold him from hitting your quarterback. You know, that's the argument, I guess. Savage says, rigging games or things that people can bet on is 100% illegal. We should all put in a grievance claim to the NFL, knock the wind out of the NFL. Yeah, they have better lawyers than us, so don't even think about it. Never gonna happen. Mr. Rex says, we need a video of all the bad calls and non-calls from this game or ever, because it will last a long time. Michael Murphy says, how was the wedding, Ryan? Wedding was a lot of fun. I went to a wedding Saturday night, and probably like an hour and a half from me. One of my close childhood friends growing up, Andrew, if you're in here, congratulations. Hopefully you're not in here and you're maybe going on your honeymoon right now. I forgot to ask you where you're going. So hopefully the Jets losing didn't make you upset. Hemi says, Taylor Swift gate. Everything's got to have a gate at the end of it. Dennis says, Zach actually looked like a pro quarterback for the first time in the pros. Stop babying him. He can play. Yes, just let it rip. Who cares? Play with your back against the wall. Phil says, Philly almost lost in overtime because they didn't slide like Mahomes and take the field goal. Yeah, you got to pay attention to downs and distances and time. How much time is left? You don't need the points. Mahomes could have easily scored there, but you didn't need it because who knows? Maybe the Jets score a quick touchdown and get the onside kick. It happened in the Browns game last year. Sliding ended the game. Spectre said the most egregious non-call was the grounding. Two main components of grounding inside the tackle box and ball not being thrown over the line of scrimmage both occurred. BS, receiver was in the vicinity. Nope. No way was there a player within the vicinity. I completely agree with you, Jay. Completely agree. vicinity, I think it's supposed to be 5 yards, within 5 yards of the pass being thrown. I guarantee they have the technology to say, okay, this is where the ball landed on the yard line or on the field, and here is the closest receiver, because they got tracking on every other fucking player. There's no way they can't not do it for that. They definitely can. Phil says, ooh, cool idea, Ryan. Boxing gloves. Boxing gloves on offensive linemen, or oven mitts. Whatever you prefer. Favorite mitten of choice. Prevents holding. Hemi says they will have more dog and pony shows like this as long as celebrities are present. If it draws eyes to the NFL and it makes them as much money as it seemingly is right now, it's huge. Kev says 9 out of 10 times if star players not performing, the team can't win. Yeah, man, I felt like all our stars did perform last night. Like, everyone had a hand in it. Breece had a few nice runs. Garrett had a few nice catches. Zach played well. Just sucks. Jimmy Jet says, are we getting an apology letter from the NFL again? I think so. Or they're just not going to comment on the 2 non-calls. Hai Kung Fu says, do you think we should have death penalty for bad officiating? Public hanging should deter officials from bad calls. I would like public shaming, right? Like, put them in one of those head and arm things and then throw tomatoes at them. Rotten tomatoes. Old food. Dirty laundry. That's what you could throw flags at them. Take the hard thing out of the bottom of it, but just hit them with little yellow flags. Ciro says, I developed a new respect for Sal last night, getting a flag at the end of the game and basically telling reporters to piss off during the post-game press conference. He should have went nuclear at the podium. I loved the way Salah handled that at the end. I have no problem with him getting the penalty flag and the unsportsmanlike conduct, because it was utter bullshit the way the refs handled that final drive, and he knew it, the fans knew it, and at the very least, it wasn't like his penalty was going to cause us the game because of everything that transpired before that. So I love, this was the best I've felt about Robert Saleh and the emotion that he's been able to show and kind of back the team. Like, I feel like we've kind of had his tail between his legs the last few weeks, and that's kind of with how Zach has played and trying to maybe not draw too much attention to it. I liked what Saleh did. I'm a big Robert Saleh guy. I'm a big fan of his. Hexen says, October 1st, 2023, the night the legend of Zach Wilson was born. Could you imagine? This is our Drew Bledsoe moment, right? The Bills knock out Aaron Rodgers, torn Achilles. Zach Wilson comes on his superhero arc. Let's make it happen. John comes in with a super chat. Did you notice the NBC intro to the game was all about how the Chiefs were going to smoke us and Taylor Swift being in the building, nobody even pretending to be impartial? There were so many Taylor Swift commercials throughout that game. And I don't know if it's just YouTube TV knowing that, like, Becca likes Taylor Swift and I like Taylor Swift and we've said the word Taylor Swift around our Googles for so long that, like, they just wanted to show Taylor Swift commercials the entire time, or were there actually everyone that was at the game? The Jake from State Farm guy was at the game. There was commercials for him. Taylor Swift was at the game. Tons of commercials for her. Kelsey, obviously, in the game. Commercials for him. It felt like it was just a propaganda show of the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelsey bullshit fucking marathon. It sucked. Felt like they had a narrative they wanted to push the entire time. J-Boy says, sports media is all over the refs. The NFL will say something just to shut it all up because it makes Kansas City look weak right now because we took Pat out of the game, and if Jermaine Johnson hold gets called, I felt a pick coming. Yeah, I mean, you're talking that play, it was 3rd and 22. That holding call would have made it 3rd and 32 or 3rd and 40 if it's a spot foul. I don't think it's 10 yards from the spot of the foul. I think it's 10 yards from the spot of the ball, right? Is that how that works? It's ridiculous. Futon says, if officials have the power to review any scoring play, they should be able to review any turnovers as well, fumbles, interceptions. They do. So they do review every turnover and every scoring play. They should be able to review penalties, though. I really think if it's a judgment call on the field, why could you not make a better judgment call with more time and more heads in the think tank on it? That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. All right, boys and girls, I got to go mow the lawn. take care of some chores around the house tonight. I did post the every throw from Zach Wilson video, so if you guys want to check that out, make sure you hit that like button. If you want to share that video with people, get people interested in the channel, greatly appreciated because, like I said, I don't make any money off the Zach Wilson every throw videos, but it helps bring people to the channel, and hopefully those people like hanging out and spending some time here with us in the chat. So boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun. I look forward to tonight. I'll be on the AFC East Roundtable channel with Richie trying to defend our Jets against our division rivals, so make sure you support us over there. We've only had like 12% support, which is ridiculous. We should have much more support over on the AFC's Roundtable. That's 6 o'clock over there. I'll be with them. And then 8 o'clock tonight, we're going to do our call-in show. I have a feeling the phone lines are going to be off the hook. You guys are going to be letting me know how you want to feel or how you are feeling about everything that happened last night. Guys, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And as always, go